Good morning, students. In this session, let us study the poem Daddy, written by Sylvia Plath. In this poem, we try to understand the causes for the speaker's depression and disturbed mind. The speaker in the poem is a daughter who talks about her father in the poem. She is in depression and she is disturbed mentally. Let us try to understand the causes for her depression and disturbed mind. And we can also try to understand the love and hate relationship of the speaker with her father. She loves her father on the one hand and hates her father on the other hand. So she has a love and hate relationship with her father. Let us try to know the reasons for that. We can also infer the causes for the disturbing but artful howl of the woman who has lost her father and her husband. The speaker, who is a lady or a daughter in the poem, loses both her father and her husband. She is totally disturbed and she howls at man in the poem. Let us try to understand the causes which made her howl at men in the poem. Let us appreciate the poet's way of presentation with images and metaphors. She uses so many images and metaphors in the poem. Let us try to understand the use of them. After going through this session, we learn the disturbing but artful howl from a woman who has lost her father and her husband. We learn the various issues discussed in the poem. The various issues that are discussed in the poem are death, love, obsession, fascism, brutality, war, femininity, God, and so many other things are discussed in the poem. She not only talks about her father, but she talks about all these issues in the poem. This poem is autobiographical and confessional. Our personal elements are included in the poem. And this poem is also a confessional poem. Confessional means she pours out her inner secrets, confidential things to the public. Let us also try to understand the causes and the consequences of the obsession and trauma the speaker subjected to. Try to understand the consequences and obsession and trauma the speaker is subjected to. She is subjected to the obsession and trauma because of the loss of her father and desertion of her husband. Let us try to understand all these things and we learn these things in the poem. Before going into the poem, let us try to know something about the poet Sylvia Plath and her life and works. You see, Sylvia Plath was born in the year 1932 and she died in the year 1963. She lived just for 31 years. She was born on October 1963 at Boston City in United States of America. Her parents were Otto Plath and Aurelia Plath. They were German immigrants in USA. Basically, Plath family is from Germany. They are the German immigrants in United States of America. Her father was a professor in an university who taught life sciences, biological sciences. And Sylvia Plath published her first poem just at a very early age, at the age of 8. Unfortunately, she lost her loved father in the year 1942. She was just 10 years old when she lost her father. When she lost her father, she was mentally disturbed. She took it very seriously because she loved her father very much. She was emotionally attached to her father. It disturbed her a lot after the loss of her father. She was a very bright student in school and she got a scholarship to study in Cambridge University in England. She went to Cambridge University in England in the year 1955. There she found another English poet by name Ted Hughes. She loved him and married him in the year 1956. And she was blessed with two children. But later her husband, Ted Hughes, deserted Sylvia Plath for another woman. This again disturbed her a lot. So she started dating men and felt disturbed in her life. This is a brief sketch of her personal life. This life has affected a lot on her creative work or on her poems. She made multiple suicide attempts. She wanted to die. She was very much attached to her father. When she lost her father, she wanted to die to reach his father. So she made multiple suicide attempts and she was saved on many occasions. But ultimately, she committed suicide in the year 1963. It is not her natural death. She committed suicide. And she published her poems, collection of poems. The Colossus and other poems was published in the year 1960. The Ariel was published in 1965 after her death, but she had written the poems. Crossing the Water was published posthumously in the year 1971. The Bell Jar is her novel. She was awarded the Pulitzer Award in the year 1982. This poem, Daddy, is included in her poems collections titled The Ariel, which was written in the year 1962. This poem consists of 16 quatrains. Quatrains means 5-line stanzas. There are 16 quatrains in the poem Daddy. You see in the poem, a child or a lady with a child's mind speaks to her dead father. She addresses her dead father. She is a lady, she is a child, and she has a child's mind when she speaks to her dead father. She has obsession for death. She loves death very much. She wants to die. She is after death. She thinks that death is a gateway to rejoin her father. She is not scared of death. She thinks that death takes her to her father, whom she loved very much when he was alive. So she has a mixture of love and hate for her father. In this poem, she expresses her love for her father and later she expresses her hate for her father. We know the reasons and we go further in this session. Basically, she had emotional attachment to her father. She was very much attached to her father but felt the need to get rid of his memory. Even after his death, his memory remained with her. But it irritated her a lot, troubled her a lot. So she wanted to get rid of his memory. So that is an hate that she had for her father, and there are so many other reasons for hating her father. We come to know as we progress in this session. The poem has an autobiographical and confessional elements. The poem begins with the words or expressions I do not do, I do not do. So the poem is just like a rhyme for the children. And we find the rhythm and rhyme scheme in the poem. And this poem ends with Daddy, Daddy, you bastard, I am through. So you see the beginning of the poem is very very mild. A child is speaking in the beginning of the poem. It addresses the father. But the ending of the poem is very very harsh. See outbursts. Shows her a savage outburst towards her father. She calls him a bastard. She removed his memory from her mind and heart. She was very much attached to her father, as I told you, when she was a child. But later, she removed him from her memory. She showed her savage outburst against her father. So there is a love and hate relationship with her father. Her language in the poem is very, very playful and scathing. She attacks her father severely with very, very harsh words. In the beginning, we come to know the two sides of her father, two faces of her father. Sylvia Plath, or the speaker in the poem, looks her father in two different ways. The first shade of her father, the childhood version up to her adulthood. The first part of her father, or the first face or shade of her father. She had an obsession for him. She loved him very much. She was emotionally attached to him. But in the later version, the speaker or Sylvia Plath looks at her father as a Nazi representative, a Nazi, a devil, and an overpowering image. You see the first impression on the father, her childhood version of her father. But the later version is very, very harsh. She finds him as a negative character. In the first part, she finds him as a positive character, but in the second part, she finds him as a negative character. In the stanza 1, 2, 3, in the first three stanzas, she expresses her emotions of love and hate for her father. In the next seven stanzas, stanza number 4 to 10, she tries to trace the family line or origin. They are now living in America, but they are basically from Germany. She tries to trace the family line or family history or origin. She traces her family history to Poland, Austria, Germany, and USA. Now they are in USA. Earlier, they immigrated to America from Germany. From Germany, even before that, they are from Austria, Poland. So she traces her family line in stanza 4 to 10. In stanza 11 to 15, she finds her father as a Nazi representative. Nazi temper of her father is seen in these stanzas. She looks at her father as a fascist. Fascist is one who believes that dictatorship is the best form of the government. And she talks about swastika, a German Nazi symbol. So she finds the Nazi temper in her father. In stanza number 16, she is very hysterical. She becomes very emotional, uncontrollable, and she shows her savage outburst in the last stanza. So we find the two shades of her father. Her childhood version, who is a gigantic figure for her daughter or for Sylvia Plath. She loved him very much and she was attached to him very much. This is her childhood version, but in the later version, she finds him as a devil, very damaging character, whom she hates very much. Let us see the causes for all these things. In the first part, she creates the figurative image of her father. She creates a figurative image of her father. She compares her father to a black shoe. She calls her father a black shoe. She is a foot in it. So the black shoe stands for Nazi regime and she is a foot in it. A foot in a shoe means she is trapped in the shoe. Her father is a shoe. So she is under the control of her father. She cannot escape from the memory and the clutches of her father. She cannot go out of his control. Her father died when she was just 10. So she finds a larger than life image of her father in the beginning. She finds or pictures the image of her father which is larger than the life image. His father is gigantic in size. He is as heavy as a marble. A bag full of God. He is a ghastly statue. He had a big toe and a head. She gives so many references or images to describe her father in the first part of the poem. When we go through the images that she uses in the first part, we come to know that her father is a gigantic character and she attributes all the good qualities to her father in the beginning. But she fails to trace the family roots and she puts in Poland. She tries to trace the family roots and she starts from her country, present country America, goes back to Germany, from there to Austria, Poland, but at last she lands or stops at Poland. She cannot go further. So she prays God in the beginning to reunite her with her father. She is so obsessed with her father that she wanted to join him even at his death. Even she prays God to make her join her father, allow her to join her father. That shows her obsession with her father. But she could not speak his German language. Her father spoke German language, but Sylvia Plath, who brought up in America, could not speak German language. She felt German language a barbed wire snare. She found it as a snare. Snare is a trap made up of rope or a cloth or a wire. So here, German language is just like a barbed wire snare for Sylvia Plath. She doesn't like it, she hates it a lot. She found her father in every German. She started everything that was German. Because Hitler was a fascist. And every German looked like a fascist, looked like Hitler. So she found a German in her father. Even though they lived in America, she found her father a German. And she found every German in her father. Found this language dirty and offensive. She started hating her father for being a German. She found her father in each and every German. She started hating German language. The language looked like a dirty language and an offensive language to her. She was very deeply disturbed by the memories of her father. She found the German language or an engine as train leading her to the concentration camp. She was very much haunted by the concentration camps where the German Jews were killed by the Nazi regime or by the Germans. That image troubled her a lot and made her look everything that was German as a negative thing, dangerous thing. So that German language even looks like a train for her, which leads her to the concentration camp. Here, Sylvia Plath assumes herself to be a Jew or a gypsy, and she is scared of the Germans. When she finds her father as a German, she is scared of her father also. But in her childhood, she didn't look at her father as a German. She looked at her father as a human being. She loved him very much. But as she grew up, she found that her father was a German who hails from Germany. She started looking her father in each and every German, each and everything that is German. So she imagined herself as a Jew or gypsy and her father as a German. So the hate between the daughter and the father started. As we know, Nazi, they quest for racial purity in Germany. They wanted to purify the German race. They wanted to exterminate the Jews and Gypsies from Germany. So Hitler started killing the German Jews and Gypsies in the concentration camp. He found the Jews and Gypsies as impure in Germany. He wanted to kill and exterminate all the Jews in Germany. Sylvia Plath found Tyrol Mountains. Is a mountain series. And Vienna beer. Vienna beer is very popular. Even those popular things and mountain series are also impure. They are not pure. We cannot find purity everywhere. We cannot find purity even in the beer. We cannot find purity even in the natural elements. How can we find purity in the blood of the human race? Or how can we decide that one particular blood is pure and another one is impure? So she realizes, it comes to her mind again and again, we cannot find anything pure in this world. Even the Tyrol mountains, which do not go anywhere else, are impure. We cannot say that they are pure. Even the Vienna beer, which is prepared at Vienna, is not pure. So when the Germans, or particularly Hitler, wants to cleanse the German race or Nazi race, removing all the other inferior races as he thinks, it seems to be a futile attempt, and it seems to be a threat to the mankind. So Sylvia Plath hates Germany and the German people, and she is scared of her father's German image. She looks at her father as a German. There is a German image in him. She finds her father as a Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe is an Air Force man. Her father looks like a man who works in German Air Force. And he wears a neat mustache of Hitler's. He looks like an Hitler to Sylvia Plath. And he has a blue eye of an Aryan race of Hitler. And he is a Panzer man. Panzer is a military soldier. So she finds her father as a German image. That is why she starts hating her father. Her father is no longer her god. Earlier he was her god. But now he is a German Nazi symbol. She finds swastika. Swastika is the Nazi symbol. She finds swastika in her father. He is a fascist. He has a brute art. Very cruel art. So she sarcastically says in the poem, every woman loves a fascist. Sarcastically says, generally women who do not love these fascists and men's dictatorship. Very sarcastically says, women love fascists. Later, she finds her father as a teacher in a classroom. Because he was a teacher, she remembers her father as a teacher, finds him in the classroom, and as a devil with a cleft chin. See, he looks like a devil, not as a human being, not as a teacher, but as a devil with a cleft chin. Generally, it is believed that the witches or the devil will have the cleft feet, but her father has a cleft chin. Even then, he looks like a devil to her. And they split her art into two. Her heart was split into two by the image of her father. The nature of her father made her heart split into two. Earlier, as we know, she had prayed God to regain him. She wanted to be beside by her father, at least by the bones of her father. So she made many suicide attempts to join her father. Even the doctors who saved her life after she made an attempt to commit suicide. The doctors, she was hospitalized and the doctors rescued her. She called the doctors her enemies because they stopped her death. She wanted to die to rejoin her father, but the doctors prevented. They came as an obstacle on her way. That is why she called the doctors her enemies. On her failure to commit suicide, she found a new way of joining her father. She made a model of her father in Mein Kampf look. Mein Kampf, as you know, is a book of the Nazis. She made her father a model of her father. She found a new way to die. She made a model of her father in Mein Kampf look. And she had a telephone conversation with her father with a telephone booth which is black in color, which is associated with the Nazi race. She cut off the telephone wire so that she cannot hear her father or she cannot speak to her father. So she wanted to disconnect her relations with her father. She wanted to forget the memory of her father. So she made all these attempts to cut off her relations or emotions with her father. Even when she married her classmate, the English poet Ted Hughes, she found a model of her father in her husband. She lost her father but found a father in her husband. She found the image of her father in her husband. She found a replacement for her father. But she lost communication when she was divorced by him. She started dating her father for being a German. She started dating her husband because he deserted her for another woman. So the communication was lost between the father and the daughter. Communication was lost between the wife and husband. These two, father and her husband, turned into vampires. Vampire is a blood-sucking ghost. They do not remain as human beings in our eyes. They turned ghosts, blood-sucking ghosts, torturing ghosts. So she decided to kill them both metaphorically. She wanted to kill her father from her memory. She wanted to kill or remove her husband from her memory. She killed them both metaphorically. The villagers of her father's village, disliked her father even. They howled at him as bastard. She howled at her father, affectionate father, towards the end of the poem as bastard. She called him bastard. So, a victim became a prosecutor and a killer. She was a victim of her emotions, her attachment to her father and her husband. She was a victim of emotions. But later, she turned into a prosecutor and a killer. She killed both her father and her husband, metaphorically, by displaying her disconnection in the form of a telephone booth and cutting off the wires of the telephone booth. And she howled at her father, called him a bastard. She got rid of him emotionally and metaphorically. So let us try to look at the poem again with some main points. Let us revise. The title of the poem is very ironic. It is ironic because the affectionate father in the beginning turned a Nazi in the later part of the poem. He looks like a devil, a vampire, a bastard at last. You see the transformation of the father in the eyes of his own daughter. She loved him very much in the beginning. He was just like a god to his daughter. But later he became a devil or a vampire, even a bastard. It is a very ironic title, Daddy. It is a very affectionate term. But that daddy, an affectionate person, or a term became a very harsh man, a bastard at the end. In the poem, Sylvia Plath, or the speaker, takes the readers on her mental journey. She takes us on her mental journey through her father's roots. She wants to trace the roots of her father. So she takes us on her journey from America to Germany, from Germany to Austria, Poland and other places. And she takes us on a journey to Nazi persecution of the Jews in Germany during the Second World War. She takes us on her journey to her marriage to the English poet Ted Hughes and her love-hate relationship with her father. So, we are taken on a journey by the speaker or Sylvia Plath. And the daddy is a metaphor for evil and all men. In the poem, the word daddy is a metaphor for evil and all men. She hates all men. She wants to take revenge on all men. The line between the speaker and the poet is very, very thin. It means to say that she is the speaker and the poem is all about Sylvia Plath and her father. The line between the poet and the speaker is very thin, means both are all almost the same person. The speaker is the poet and the poet is the speaker. So we find the autobiographical elements in the poem. She metaphorically killed both her father and her husband and got freedom from their overpowering image. Her father dominated her, haunted her a lot. Even her husband, whom she loved very much and found her father in him, dominated her, overpowered her emotionally, physically. So she wanted to get freedom from these two. So she killed both of them metaphorically. So the poet does not use any formal rhyme scheme in the poem, and she writes in free verse. Let us assess our understanding of the poem. The speaker is obsessed with the death because tired of her life, wanted to be united with her dead father, loved death very much, wanted to find out what death is. She wanted to be united with her dead father. So she is obsessed with her dead father. death. The speaker imagined herself to be a, in the poem, the speaker imagined herself to be a Nazi, zoo, bastard, vampire. She imagined herself to be a zoo. The Nazi symbol mentioned in the poem is engine, Mein Kampf, swastika, cleft chin. Swastika is the Nazi symbol that is mentioned in the poem. The historical event mentioned in the poem is Cold War, Second World War, First World War, American War of Independence. The event that is mentioned in the poem is Second World War, where Nazis killed the Jews in the concentration camps. The speaker called the doctors who saved her gods, friends, enemies, Nazis. She called them as her enemies. And these are the references or websites that I consulted for preparation of this presentation. Thank you for listening.